Hey, 49ers faithful. We're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates on our beloved San Francisco 49ers. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit that like button. This way, you'll never miss any breaking news or exciting updates about the Niners. The news that shook the NFL world came like a thunderclap on a quiet afternoon. Reports began to circulate that Christian McCaffrey, the star running back of the San Francisco 49ers and the centerpiece of their offensive scheme, had been suspended for 2 years due to a confirmed doping violation. It's the kind of revelation that doesn't just hit the fan base, it sends ripples through the entire league, leaving analysts, players, and coaches stunned. McCaffrey isn't just any player. He's the beating heart of Kyle Shanahan's system, the versatile weapon who can run, catch, block, and even inspire. To lose him in such a controversial way raises more questions than answers. How did this happen? Was it intentional, accidental, or a misunderstanding? The league statement used the word confirmed, and that alone casts a long shadow. Fans who once chanted his name in unison are now caught between defending their hero and grappling with disappointment. Rivals, meanwhile, smell blood in the water. The 49ers' entire Super Bowl window suddenly looks fragile. And the most shocking detail, the punishment is not short-term. 2 years, 2 full seasons, a football lifetime in which anything can change. When you think about Christian McCaffrey, you think about consistency, excellence, and relentless drive. Since he entered the league, he has been celebrated not only for his talent, but also for his work ethic and professionalism. That's why this development feels so surreal, almost impossible to digest. McCaffrey was the kind of player kids looked up to, the kind of star you believed embodied the right balance between hard work and clean competition. And yet, here we are, staring at headlines that accuse him of breaking one of the sport's most sacred rules. 2 years without him is not just a punishment. It's a void that will reshape the trajectory of the 49ers. Imagine their playbook stripped of its most dynamic option. Imagine defenses no longer having to game plan around his unmatched versatility. This isn't just about one-man suspension. It's about the collapse of a carefully crafted machine. The narrative shifts instantly. Can San Francisco survive, or will this derail everything? These questions hang heavily in the air, swirling in speculation and disbelief. Rumors are already swirling around the locker room and across social media. Some insist McCaffrey must have been set up, claiming that there's no way a player so dedicated could knowingly compromise his career. Others believe that in the pursuit of peak performance, even the most disciplined athletes can make desperate choices. The truth remains locked in sealed documents and official statements, leaving fans to speculate and argue in endless threads and comment sections. One thing is undeniable. The timing couldn't be worse. The 49ers have been poised for another deep playoff run. Their roster stacked, their momentum undeniable. McCaffrey was their engine, their insurance policy when everything else failed. Without him, it feels like the ground has been pulled from under their feet. In the ruthless world of the NFL, opportunities don't wait around. 2 years means younger players will step in, systems will adapt, and when McCaffrey returns, if he returns, the league may no longer have a place carved out for him. That's the cruel reality of professional sports. Time doesn't stop. Suspensions are more than just bans. They're disruptions that alter the very fabric of teams and careers. The 49ers front office now faces one of the toughest challenges in recent memory. How do you move forward without your star? How do you reassure a fan base that built its hopes on a player now unavailable until at least 2027? The statements from the organization have been carefully worded, expressing disappointment, support for the process, and commitment to the rest of the team. But beneath the polished PR lines, there must be chaos. McCaffrey's contract, his future earnings, his endorsements, everything is suddenly uncertain. Brands tied to his name are scrambling, evaluating whether to stay aligned with an athlete branded by controversy. And the locker room, filled with players who looked up to him, now must recalibrate their expectations and their leadership dynamics. Losing a player to injury is devastating, But losing one to suspension, especially under the banner of doping, carries a stigma that never fully fades. This isn't just about excess and OS. It's about trust, reputation, and legacy. And right now, the 49ers are staring into an abyss that they didn't see coming. Fans across the league are divided, and the debates are raging on every platform. Some call for compassion, urging others to remember the immense pressure elite athletes face. Others are unforgiving, arguing that rules are rules, and McCaffrey knowingly crossed a line. The NFL's history is filled with stars who fell from grace, and this incident now places McCaffrey in that unfortunate list. But the scale of his suspension, 2 entire seasons, is what magnifies the drama. We're not talking about a few games or even half a season. We're talking about stripping the prime years from a player known for his explosiveness and endurance. 2 years of football gone, 2 years of opportunity lost. That kind of punishment feels like a death sentence for some athletes' careers. And for McCaffrey, whose identity is so intertwined with the game, the emotional toll could be even greater than the physical one. Fans are left to wonder, will he return the same player, or will this mark the beginning of an irreversible decline? The uncertainty is almost unbearable, and yet it fuels the endless buzz surrounding this saga. Meanwhile, rival teams are reacting with quiet interest. Coaches and defensive coordinators who once dreaded facing McCaffrey suddenly have one less nightmare to prepare for. The NFC West landscape shifts dramatically, with opportunities opening for teams like the Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals to capitalize on the 49ers' sudden vulnerability. This suspension doesn't just affect San Francisco. It alters the balance of power across the conference. Imagine how playoff matchups change, how betting odds swing, how narratives for entire seasons are rewritten overnight. One player's absence, especially one as pivotal as McCaffrey, creates a domino effect that touches everything from ticket sales to television ratings. It's not just a football story. It's a business story, a cultural story, a cautionary tale. And for the 49ers faithful, it feels like betrayal. Their trust in a hero has been fractured, and rebuilding that bond, if it's even possible, will take time, victories, and transparency. For now, though, the dominant emotion is shock, mixed with a strange cocktail of anger, sadness, and disbelief. As the dust settles on the shocking announcement, the deeper layers of this controversy begin to emerge. Behind every suspension, there's always a backstory, a chain of events that lead to the final hammer dropping. Reports suggest the NFL's investigation into McCaffrey wasn't something that happened overnight. Whispers say random testing had flagged unusual results months ago, and what began as quiet monitoring escalated into full-scale inquiry. The league, often criticized for being inconsistent in its punishments, chose to make an example here. 2 years sends a message, loud and clear, that no player is above the rules, no matter how talented or celebrated. But it also raises eyebrows. Why so severe? Was there more behind the scenes that hasn't been revealed? Perhaps repeated violations, perhaps substances considered highly dangerous. The details remain frustratingly vague, leaving only the confirmed fact of his absence. Fans crave transparency, yet the league seems content with finality. This opacity fuels rumors and speculation. And in the modern sports landscape, where every tweet and podcast becomes gospel, the lack of clarity is as damaging as the suspension itself. And in McCaffrey's silence, the noise only grows louder. Christian McCaffrey himself has remained quiet since the news broke, adding to the intrigue. In an age where athletes often turn to social media to control their narrative, his silence feels strategic, or perhaps a sign of shock. Fans are refreshing their feeds, waiting for that heartfelt statement, the kind of carefully crafted message that either accepts responsibility, denies wrongdoing, or explains context. But the longer the silence stretches, the more it fuels speculation. Is he working on an appeal? Is he under legal advice to stay quiet? Or is he genuinely struggling to process the collapse of everything he has built? Athletes of McCaffrey's stature are used to controlling games, dictating outcomes, being the deciding factor. But this is beyond his control, and that helplessness might be the hardest pill to swallow. People want answers, they want emotion, they want closure. And in the absence of his voice, everyone else is filling the void with their own narratives, some sympathetic, others merciless. This silence has become its own storyline, a pause that echoes louder than any official statement ever could. The 49ers organization, for all their professionalism, cannot escape the chaos this brings. Behind closed doors, meetings must be running late into the night. Strategies are being redrawn, trade options are being explored, and scouts are rechecking their notes on every available running back. No single player can replicate what McCaffrey brought to the field, but teams survive by adapting. Perhaps this will force the 49ers to reinvent themselves, to find new creative ways to generate offense without leaning so heavily on one man. But reinvention takes time, and time is the one thing the NFL never grants. Every week is a battle, every season a war of attrition. The window for a championship is always narrow, and the 49ers know it better than anyone. The looming question is whether this storm will break them or forge them stronger. For an organization that has prided itself on resilience and history, this moment may define their legacy just as much as any Super Bowl win. In the pressure cooker of the NFL, adversity is inevitable, but this kind of blow can scar a team for years. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. For McCaffrey personally, the road ahead looks daunting. 2 years out of professional football is an eternity. The physical side is challenging enough. Staying in peak condition without the rhythm of games, practices, and competition is nearly impossible. But the mental side may be even more punishing. Watching from the sidelines, knowing the sport moves on without you, can erode even the strongest of psyches. Players who have faced long suspensions or injuries often speak of isolation, of feeling forgotten, of questioning their worth. McCaffrey, a player defined by his constant involvement and relentless drive, will have to find a way to redefine his identity. Will he throw himself into training like never before? Will he explore off-field ventures to keep his mind occupied? Or will he quietly fade, becoming another what if in the annals of the NFL? The possibilities are endless, but none of them guarantee redemption. And when the countdown to his return finally ends, the league he once dominated may no longer resemble the one he left behind. That's the cruel gamble of time. Meanwhile, the broader NFL community watches with a mix of fascination and unease. Players across the league are undoubtedly taking note. Some may see this as a reminder of the risks of cutting corners, while others may feel a chilling sense of fear, wondering if their own routines could one day be scrutinized in the same way. Doping scandals have always cast long shadows, tainting not just individuals but entire eras of sport. McCaffrey's suspension becomes more than a personal punishment. It becomes a cautionary tale, a talking point for future rookies, a reference in every debate about ethics and competition. And for fans, it's a bittersweet moment. They lose the thrill of watching one of the league's most exciting players, but they gain a dramatic story, a saga that will be told and retold in documentaries, podcasts, and endless debates. The NFL thrives on stories, both triumphant and tragic, and this one lands firmly in the latter category. It's the kind of chapter that will linger, etched into the collective memory of the sport, whether McCaffrey ever makes it back or not. In the end, the future remains unwritten. McCaffrey's suspension is real, the punishment severe, the consequences monumental. But how this story evolves depends on what happens next. Will he fight to appeal, to clear his name, to shorten the ban? Will the 49ers rise from the ashes of this setback, rallying around their remaining stars? Or will this mark the beginning of a decline, the start of what fans will remember as the lost years? Sports have a way of surprising us, of twisting narratives when we least expect it. And though today feels like devastation for San Francisco and McCaffrey's legacy, tomorrow may bring redemption, reinvention, or perhaps an ending no one saw coming. For now, the NFL world can only wait, speculate, and react. Rumors will continue, debates will rage, and fans will cling to whatever slivers of hope or outrage fit their perspective. But one fact is undeniable. Christian McCaffrey's name will never be spoken the same way again. This suspension, this scandal, this seismic shift, it has rewritten the story, and the echoes will be felt for years. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.